Well, speaking of Balenciaga just had their 2023 spring summer show,
Yeah, that I've been fighting with people about all day.
which received a lot of backlash because of the runway was covered in mud. For those of you that didn't watch it, you should watch it at least just to listen to the instrumentals that they
Yeah,
walked
because
to.
people were in the comments were like, "This beat is
Yeah, the
crazy."
beats were nuts. I was in there.
So I'm like, at least people were aware of the music.
Yeah,
Whether you like the show or not, at least you could say the music was good.
music was hard. Which got a lot of backlash because the runway was mud. It was kind of like rainy, sort of muddy runway track,
Puddles.
and they were just walking in puddles with real mud, so it was destroying the clothes as they walked through them, which obviously
And the shoes.
received a lot. Yeah, the shoes were messed up. Obviously, people are gonna always make comments, right? And I'm gonna get straight to it because I'm gonna clip this, so I want to get my point very clear right here in the beginning. So first and foremost, if you're wearing like Nike Techs and you're wearing like
I hate Nike tags.
and you're wearing like running shoes and like you go and shop at the mall, at your local whatever the fuck, like anything,
Against all odds. Do
and
people
this is
still
not
shop there?
and this is not even supposed to be elitist or whatever, but like seriously, if you buy your shoes from Foot Locker,
Yeah. Because I've never done that.
or just any sort of general population affordable clothing or mall clothing, mall couture, if you shop in any of those places, and again, this is not to sound elitist because I'm not an elitist person, fashion and high fashion is not for those people. It's not catered towards those people. When Architectural Digest and Vogue and all these different other magazine outlets and high fashion luxury designer stores, the product that they're selling is not marketed to us people, right? Like you've never seen a Saint Laurent ad on TV because Saint Laurent is not advertising to people that watch TV. You've never seen a Ferrari ad.
And you know what? Sorry to interrupt, but we just came back from Dubai. You know where you do see those ads though. Like I feel like you see them we see them in airports because they know like people with money are usually traveling through airports, and like you'll see them kind of like in big cities that got money. Like you'll see the advertisements around New York,
Yeah,
and
on
Dubai,
Fifth Ave.
not on TV, barely.
I work right next to Fifth Ave, so everywhere up and down Fifth Ave, obviously anybody that knows New York, Fifth Ave is known for that type of stuff. So when you go to the bus stop, ironically enough, will have a Dior ad on it or something like that. So yeah, but you won't ever see those on TV. You never seen a Lamborghini ad on TV because people that drive Lamborghinis typically don't watch TV. Like that's not really. Usually they're out getting money.
Yep.
So the whole idea of fashion and high fashion specifically is not marketed to the general population. It's marketed to the 1% of people in the world. So anything concerning that has nothing to do with anyone outside of there. It's not marketed to you. It's first of all, most of that stuff isn't even marketed at all.
Yeah.
But the stuff that is marketed, like you might see a Prada ad or a Balenciaga ad pop up, it's not marketed towards the people outside of that 1%.
And they know that when they're marketing or making their marketing or making their shows, they're not sitting there like, all right, what's the middle class doing? Like,
Yeah, how are we going to get the bozo at the ice cream shop to buy our Balenciaga? Like, they're not doing it. It's not marketed to you. If you buy it because you think it makes you cool and you put on your Balenciaga sock shoes that say Balenciaga on the side and you think that makes you a way better person, then good for you. But it's not marketed towards you. It's marketed towards people that can actually afford it.
And I'm sure they know when their metrics that they have outliers, like the person that's going to save 3 months of their paycheck to get a bag.
Yeah, and honestly, and preferably
10 months of their paycheck.
And this is even something Tommy Hilfiger said, and even though I don't agree with his statement, obviously, because it was racial connotations, he said he doesn't make Tommy Hilfiger clothes for black people, which is a fact. They don't make clothes. They don't, aside from the black person part of it, they don't make these clothes with the intention or mindset that people that are regular wear them.
Like honestly, they're making those clothes thinking about, oh, somebody's gonna wear this to go to play the game of polo, or hop on, or horseback riding, or a golf game, a golf match.
Yeah. So
or to wear this to go to a U.S. Open. Like they're not thinking about the person who lives in the projects who's gonna wear this thinking I'm Hilfiger rich. I think I'm wearing like that. No.
Yeah.
They're glad to take the money, but they're not marketing it.
They're not. And if they had a preference, they wouldn't have you wear it because that downgrades.
It declines their brand.
Yeah, it downgrades their brand. Like that's why things like Versace like got killed because the Migos started wearing that.
Versace. Yeah, now it looks like it looks ghetto.
Yeah,
like,
or like Gucci stuff. Like it looks like
tacky.
Yeah, it looks tacky. You know, that downgrades their brand. It might give them more money in the short term, but then
and also rich people don't want stuff that's accessible. So they see that the person at a bodega is wearing Gucci, they're like, ooh, I'm not gonna wear that no more.
Right. So, so these brands are not marketed towards any of us, and they're not. They don't make the clothes for us. They make the clothes for those people that can afford them, and that's all they're marketing towards. So there's no like agenda. If you want to spend your money and cash out on that stuff when you really can't afford it, then do it. But it's not meant. Like those price tags are nothing to certain people. Like realistically,
literally, like $1,000, like a $1,800 shirt to somebody is equivalent to us buying a shirt for $20.
Yeah,
for not a lot of people, but a good portion of people.
Yeah, and that's who they're trying to sell it to. So it's
people making think pieces online like, oh, Balenciaga is a social experiment. They're trying to see how far they could push the public. Who push who? Not you. They're not thinking of you. They're not. Like if they want to have a social experiment for the rich, and say, okay, what type of stuff will rich people buy? Like will they spend $1,800 on the bag, on a plastic garbage bag? Yeah, maybe rich people are in their mind, but not you.
I don't get that. What makes people think that the person working at Dunkin' Donuts, like Balenciaga, is thinking about getting their munchkin check?
They're not even thinking about us, and we make decent money. They're not thinking about the accountants.
That part. Let me say
They're not thinking of investment bankers. Well, they might be thinking of investment bankers,
and they might be thinking of accountants.
They might be thinking of like CPAs, high level.
But they're not
CFOs.
thinking about even people that make $100,000.
They maybe 200.
Yeah, maybe.
And above.
Maybe.
They're not thinking about me. They're not thinking about. They might be thinking about some lawyers who make more money, but they're not thinking of the public defender. Like they're not thinking of us, just people who are even considered. I guess you could say. I want to say we're upper middle class yet, but I would say that we're like on a higher end of middle class. They're not thinking about us either. And they're definitely not thinking about you dweebs on Twitter who work, like you said, I work at Dunkin'. Like
they're not. So there's no social experiment. They're not trying to see.
A nice place to live.
They're not trying to
worry about you.
They're not trying to
your ceiling. You can touch your ceiling when you sit down.
They're not trying to see how much they can push people that make $10 an hour to buy like a trash bag. If anything, they're doing that to rich people.
That's what I'm saying. If you want to say the experiment for them, fine.
Right,
okay, I
but
could
it's
agree.
not you.
But not you.
Now, aside from the business part of it, you also can't speak. The commenters are not allowed to speak on fashion in terms of styling or any of that, because that's something that people don't understand. Like I wouldn't speak on like sculpture, for example, or I wouldn't speak on painting necessarily, for example, because I don't know the intricacies of the different even types of chemicals and different types of paints that exist. Right. So I'm not in a position to speak on that, so I'm not going to.
Yeah.
So people that, dress like, I don't even know, what do people wear?
That's the funny part. You see the comments that people leave, and that's why the same thing happened, because everybody's talking about this Balenciaga show, because they always for some reason this brand is so like, lately everybody thinks it's some type of experiment, like the hunched over aggressive walk. Like people don't understand that that's just their form of art. They think it's creepy. Like, why is everything so creepy? Like, oh, it's so creepy, it's so cold. Like you guys are so weird and boring. But this is all these talks today about it. So somebody said something, and she deleted her comments, funny enough too, because I replied back, and I went back and the comment was gone. But she was like this is what people think is fashion. Like this doesn't look good. And then you go to her page, and she has like first of all, she's like overweight. She has a ill like weird shaped body. Like you don't even, like the clothes not even falling on you, right? Like you look weird, and it's like a floral, like those typical floral like shirts that you see at Walmart. Like you could tell and that's why somebody coming back to like, sorry, like I looked through your page. I don't want to hear about fashion or somebody who clearly just shops at Target. And that's the thing, you could shop at Target and make a fit look good, but her fit didn't look good. Like,
and you can,
it's your typical.
But this is something different.
This is a different level. Like this is beyond most of our scope.
There's a reason why the fast fashion brands are copying them. Like,
yeah.
There's a reason. So you should put them on the highest pinnacle. But like I'm saying, like it's not for you to comment on. First of all, it's not in your tax bracket. And it's
Number
also
one.
not in the way that you dress in general. Because what
Exactly.
people consider fly today is wearing a Bape hoodie, some tight jeans, and a pair of Jordans. Like, that's not like,
And then girls like who like her that's commenting, what do you even think is fashion? Like what do you consider fashion?
that's what people consider to be fashion is Jordans, tight pants, and a Bape shark
Yeah.
hoodie that people was doing back in 2003. Like, no,
That they thought was weird back then.
yeah, like, so,
So you're just a follower. Like the same thing with the Yeezy slides. People said so much about that. Now you guys are literally on DHgate paying for fakes for something that you thought was ugly.
so to me, people shouldn't even comment on that, right? Like I said, I'm not commenting on painting and sculpture and all these other things that have nothing that I can't even have an appreciation for because I couldn't even do it myself. If I want to talk about something athletic, if I want to talk about finance, if I want to talk about something that I actually know, like pictures and film and all these other different things, it's things that I really consume and understand and am a nerd about, then I'm gonna make those comments. But anything else outside of that, no.
Yeah. It's like, who are you? At the end of the day, who are you?
Yeah, who are you to
Like,
speak?
where is your, like, and I think the thing is, like, some people, they'll make videos, like, where they'll do, like, oh, breakdown of the Met Gala outfits. I think that you could not necessarily afford your style and still have a critique of fashion just off of your love for it and your study of it. But I feel like your outfits will still reflect that because you don't have to have money to have style. I feel like your outfits will still reflect in some way that you are a fashionable person or what you consider fashion. It will be something different. It will be something unique.
To me, fashion and style is two different things.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
style, for those that don't understand what I'm trying to say, is that fashion to me is the combination of style and price. So when you think of, and when I say fashion, I mean high fashion because other fashion exists. When I speak about fashion, I always speak about high fashion because that to me is what dictates what everybody else does.
Yeah.
Which is true. Like,
Yeah.
I just saw that H&M I think is doing collections now. I think they're doing a spring summer 2003 collection or
So
something.
they're starting to do like
I don't know if
like
it
they're
was,
separate. I mean, I think they always kind of did that, but not. I guess they're doing it from a different. They're making it more like a thing now.
yeah, more official. So to me,
Sorry. I'm sorry.
style and money combined is what dictates high fashion. Style by itself is something different. So for example, this jacket is Dior Homme
Not Dior,
2002
homie.
Boys Don't Cry collection by Hedy Slimane. This same jacket,
I like it.
this would be considered high fashion. Stylistically, it's just a leather jacket. So if somebody else had a leather jacket that looked similar, we would have similar styles, but the fashion is different because of what this is.
Because they might not necessarily care for the fashion, if that makes sense. They might they like the style, but they might not necessarily care about materials. They might not necessarily care about originality.
Right.
The story behind it. They just are style. They got good style, but they don't really care about the fashion of it.
Right.
Okay.
So that's my opinion.
I
don't
agree
know
with
if
that.
that's an official thing, but that to me is what determines what style versus fashion is.
I agree with that.
Because the style thing could be, I have this black T-shirt. I'm using an example. This is not anything special. But like if I have a black T-shirt from Rick Owens and somebody has a black T-shirt from Hanes, the style is the same because they're both black T-shirts, but the fashion is different because one is Rick Owens and the other one's Hanes. So that's my opinion. So I think, that's my difference.
Yeah, I agree
But
with that.
That's the difference that I think.
Yeah. Because I think you don't always necessarily have to have both. But I feel like if you're into fashion though, you naturally have style. But I feel like some people who have style are not naturally into fashion.
Yeah, I think it's harder to have good style if you're not into high fashion.
Yeah, like it's possible, but it's harder because it's almost like this stuff looks good because you have to be into a fashion effect in some way for it to know how things are supposed to look or feel.
Yeah. But anyway, I think everybody should be entitled to their opinion, of course. But people should also learn when to keep their opinions to themselves and, deal with things that deal with them. And the Balenciaga show, for everybody that has anything
Like,
negative to say, and it's not just because they're like, I hate to sound like that, like, oh, you said something negative, I hate you. But it's true. It's like when you see people say something negative about something that has nothing to do with them. Like Jim Bob shouldn't be on Twitter talking about the way the model was walking.
Yeah, it's like you have bigger fish to fry.
You don't
like,
even.
You should be worried about midterms, like midterm election.
You don't even buy like Runway clothes at all. So why are you even watching Runway shows?
Yeah. It's like, why do you even care? If it comes up on your feed, you don't gotta respond to. That's something else people need to get into their head. You don't have to respond just because something's on your feed. You know. People are like, it's like this entitlement that people care about your opinions. Like I promise you, nobody cares what you had to say about the Balenciaga show. I'm sure none of those models care about what you had to say about their walk. They don't care because it's not geared towards you.
That's the same thing I was saying.
They care about the opinions of the people who were at the show. They care about the opinions of somebody like Anna Wintour. They don't care about your opinion. So you're saying that for what? For likes and laughs from the other commenters, I guess you would call us? Good job. Like, you got 1,000 likes on a comment about a walk-up from somebody who doesn't even care about what you had to say about it. And laughing. Realistically, they're laughing at you. Like, they're walking for Balenciaga. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And, like, they're telling them to walk that way, too. Like, I don't think people understand that. Like, everybody has their own artistic vision. And that's something else, too. Like, I don't understand. Like, why is it people think that... Like, I even tweeted this. Why do people think their one opinion out of 7 billion opinions on this planet is sound or it means anything? Just because you have whatever your interpretation of art and fashion is, what makes you think someone else's interpretation of that is not valid too? If they think the hunched over walk and like the aggressive grungy thing is their vibe, like why are you hating on that? Like there's plenty of the brands for you that if you are a Versace girl or a Chanel girl and you like the prissy, traditional, skinny, tall model look with the graceful walk, then go watch that. You don't have to be into Balenciaga, but some of us are into that, and we appreciate the grungy, dark aesthetic of it.
And that's the part I agree with too. Like I don't know why people voluntarily consume things that they don't like. Like exactly. I don't particularly like Balmain, so I don't like watch Balmain the shows.
It's gaudy. I don't like Versace. I don't like Fendi. I don't like anything that's like gaudy. Like I barely like Louis Vuitton. Like I just like Prada, Balenciaga, Saint Laurent. Those are my 3 favorite brands. I don't really care for anything else. So what do? Do you see us watching Chanel shows? Do you see us watching Balmain shows? No, because we don't like it.
So that's it. And you keep it pushing.
Simple.
Just keep it pushing.
It's that easy. And
I won't be on Twitter talking about it either. And that's why I had to delete Twitter. It's like the most garbage place on the planet.
It is.
It's just a cesspool of just people throwing out all types of opinions and just like, because you know what the crazy thing is about Twitter, and I'm not going to go on a long rant about this one, is that there's people on Twitter that give more stupid and idiotic and toxic and like trash opinions that they banned Andrew Tate, right? for what he says. We need to ban all those people. We need to ban
a lot of people.
We need to ban a lot of people.
Like it needs to be equal then.
Now, I understand that he had a massive platform that was like about to take off for real, but we need to get rid of so many people on these platforms that get to say whatever they want and they spew that toxic shit like all over the place. Mm-hmm. Like, let's ban all of the people that are talking about retrograde because they were kicking people off the platform for their opinions on the vaccines and everything else, but you're not going to kick people off the platform for making false accusations about how astrology and because I was born on October 8th, that means that I hate fake people. Like, let's ban them off the internet too.
Look, realistically, like, people do take it too far. I believe in it, but people do take it to an extreme, and then that could become a form of mass misinformation. Like, you got all these people in mass hysteria that some shift in Mercury is making them act up. Like, you guys didn't even know what that was seriously. 10 years ago. So what was your excuse back then? And
it sounds funny, but like that's still dangerous.
It's dangerous.
Even like, though people...
I'm mad at my boyfriend today. It must be that retrograde. No, you have a mental health issue. You need to go get checked out. Maybe you have anger problems. Like, it wasn't gonna have nothing to do with the planets. Like,
so yeah. That I don't know what that had to do to
my life. But my life is like I'm not successful because retrograde. No, you're just lazy and a bum.
Because you're talking about Balenciaga on Twitter.
Because why is it that nothing in my life has been affected by this retrograde? Like I've been fine these past 2 weeks. We were in Dubai. I wasn't sad in Dubai, but retrograde. I wasn't sad at the Giants game. I wasn't sad yesterday at Hershey. So let's be for real. Like it's just people need excuses. People need something to make them feel better for like them being losers, in my opinion. Or them being unstable.
We're probably gonna get kicked off the platform at some point. Let's blow
Probably.
up. Let's blow up so we can get kicked off.
No, but like it reminds me of this conversation that I saw on Twitter earlier. Like, two people were saying, I don't think that, like, you know, and I do agree that social media and like this world that we're in now probably does contribute to people having excessive mental health issues.
Definitely.
But somebody said, like, there was this tweet that they said that they feel like our grandparents and elders never had mental health issues, and you know everybody was killing them for it. It's like, nah, they was having mental health issues. They just, you know, like I said, using retrograde as like an excuse. They just use, oh, she's not right in the head, or oh, I need to go lay down. Like when really you're depressed.
And they were all alcoholics.
Yeah, they had excuses. They had a mask and had excuses for why they were the way they were, instead of realizing that they were just mentally ill.
To the point where the U.S. government had to institute prohibition. So.
Literally, like they were probably worse. Honestly, I mean, I wouldn't say they might have been worse, because I feel like I just said, social media is a contribution to probably.
They thought that people were taking heroin and cocaine and all this stuff in the 80s because they felt good. No. They were taking it for a reason.
Yeah.
Self-medication.
And like a lot of like the older people in our family, it was always with some type of like, it's like, I feel like with the Black community too, it's always something like a joke, like, oh, she's just a little off. No, she might have ADHD. Like, we just never address these things head on. And I feel like it was a combination of miseducation or just uneducation and not knowing, but I also feel like it was the fear of facing head on your issues. So that's why I relate that to retrograde. People have a fear of facing head on. Like, maybe I just need to get my life together and stop making excuses for why I am the way I am. Maybe I need to go to therapy. Like, fixing yourself will do you your life favors. Like, or wonders is the right word. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, people are just, that Balenciaga thing got me mad. But now I'm fighting with people on Twitter. I'm like, at the end of the day, none of us should be talking about this right now. Go to sleep. You got work in the morning. Like,
that part.
Why are you in my mentions? There's always men too that be arguing with me. I'm like, I know you don't got a girl, because why are you in my mentions? Like,
yeah.
Don't you got a girl, or shouldn't you have a girl that you be laying up with right now? Like, why are you arguing with me?
No.
Why you?
Well, they probably do, but they probably both in the same boat.
They probably are. And this man would be like, we're not in the same tax bracket. I'm like, sir, I don't even know what you look like, because your whole page is full of gifts. And like, and it's always like people who are probably older too. Like, you're probably in your 40s, and you're comparing yourself to like a newly 26-year-old woman. I will hope we're not in the same tax bracket. You look 40. Like, his profile picture look like him. You look 40. I will hope we're not in the same tax bracket. Me being 25 years younger than you and a woman, like, we're even 15 years younger than you.
Yeah. You know.
I'm like, I never said we was in the same tax bracket. I said that we shouldn't be talking about this. I'm like, I didn't say we was in the same tax bracket. I said people who are not in the tax bracket to afford Balenciaga shouldn't be talking about it. So I'm like, the shoe must have fit. 'Cause I never said we was in the same tax bracket. Anyways, worry about Fashion Nova, not Balenciaga. I think we can rest the case there.